you know, there's, after every game, you know, you're going to take a look at things you've done and how do you build on it, the things that you did well, and then how do you correct. And certainly different players, different groups, different units, that task speaks differently, right, to each one. And I think every week there's always a challenge, you know, for everyone to how do you, if you're playing really well, how do you continue to do that? If you're struggling in one area, how do you address that? How do you fix that? So that's continual throughout the season, and obviously there's things that we've got to improve upon. Kind of, if you say, themes of the first 3 games, you know, particularly offensively, and you know, special teams, and the stuff we got. Still good things in those areas we can build on, but and defensively, we're going to be challenged differently. We're obviously playing against a really good Michigan team that's talented and really well coached. I think playing really good football right now.
Paul, obviously you mentioned your offense. It looks like Michigan's defense has made it tough on teams to move the ball consistently. I'm sure it's a lot of the same players you saw last year, but different coaching staff. What have you seen that might be different, similar than what you faced in the past against them?
Yeah, I think that, you know, certainly there are a lot of individuals that you recognize, you know, and because of those 2 things, you know, you respect, you know the type of players that they are, and I think right now they appear to me, when you watch them, to be a team that's, the defense is playing really fast, you know, and which to me means they're confident in what they're being asked to do, and yet they, you know, I think good defenses do this. They give you a lot of different looks. They're not just going to stand in one place and make it easy on you, but I think they've got some really good football players and a good scheme, and I think they're playing confident, you know, and they're flying around, and they've got guys that can make plays.
Paul, how would you assess how the offensive line has played to this point, and what would you say are the benefits and drawbacks to going with that rotation throughout a game?
Yeah, it's you know, I think, like, you know, almost every group, you know, I think there's been times when it's been, you know, there's enough where you say, okay, that's good, let's build on that, and then there's, you know, moments when you're off, when you can say we can be better, we can close the gap on some things, right? You know, as far as kind of the playing different guys, you know, I think the first thing is you have to earn the right to play, right? No one's just going on the field if they haven't earned the right to play. And I think that probably quarterback and O-line are the 2 that seem, people are very comfortable when it's just the same, right? That no one's talking about that at many of the other positions, right? That's fine, you know, and I think that there's, you know, a combination of, you want, if guys have earned the right to play, they should play. And if it's also good for the group, you know, and I think there is some value at times for some individuals to be able to take a step back and see how the game is playing out, and you know, I think that's true in a lot of different sports as well. You know, you kind of see what's going on and maybe a little bit different perspective, or catch your breath, and okay, it's just, this is what's happening right there. And then I think there is a little bit of the continuity, and that's where sometimes you see it with, you know, center and 2 guards, you know, so there is still some, you appreciate that part of it too. And if you're doing that, you got to practice that way, which we have been.
Cool.
Paul, in the 3rd quarter, there was a couple of times where it seemed like Graham and the running back weren't on the same page of where the running back was supposed to be in the formation. Was that something between the sideline and the huddle, or just in the huddle? Where was the miscommunication there?
No, I think, you know, it's you know, it's making sure that they know it, right? And if they don't, they're going to go to him, right? And so I think that's part of that right there. And you know, we didn't have a lot of game plan specific things that way, where there was a lot of where it should have been tricky or anything.
Jerry. Paul, I don't know if Hicks is going to be ready Saturday, but regardless of whether he can play, how well has he played so far in yards, in particular Saturday before he got hurt?
Yeah, I think Fann's been playing really well, you know, and I love the way that he competed. I've appreciated who he is and how he leads this team as well. But as far as his play, I think he's done a lot of really good things. And, you know, Fan will be the first. There's a couple things that, has he played perfect this year yet? No, but I loved the way that he's been competing. And, you know, we're asking a lot out of him, and he's not just stepping up, you know, he's embracing that part of it. And I think it's been fun to see him when he's been able to go.
Well, if you look across this league, I think with the exception of Ohio State, a lot of programs kind of ride a roller coaster of peaks and valleys and stuff. And I think it's safe to say you're, you know, maybe in a valley right now. How confident are you that that's all it is, and that you guys can work your way out of it?
Yeah, I think that I am confident of that, right? And why do I say that? You know, I base it on who we have in the room, you know, and I like this team, right? And I like their intentions, you know, and I also think that we've got enough talent to be a good team. And, you know, right now we're doing something, as a team, we're doing some things that make it harder to win. Not impossible, but it really makes it hard. And I think we've got some areas where we're giving ourselves a chance and others that are making it hard. And so I think that, you know, so often as you go through this, you know, and this is pretty consistent kind of throughout the whole time, that the way that I've approached it, that you're going to play an opponent, you've got to know who that is, but the game is still, the focus has to be on how you do it and how you approach it and how you play, right? And knowing that you're going to be challenged each week and there are different challenges, but I still have a lot of confidence and belief in the group that we have in the locker room and in the coaches, and so yeah, it hasn't been going the way we'd like it, and it shows in the results, right? Not just the results, but it hasn't been going the way, and you know, we've been, but we've got to do a better job of correcting it and cleaning it up. And I think it starts with owning it. You got to own it, and then you got to go forward, and if there were things that we couldn't impact that would make you more nervous.
Paul, as you've watched the film and spent as many hours as you have with Graham, what would you say have been the issues you've identified the most in terms of his play? Is it footwork, accuracy, progressions? Can you kind of put your quarterback coach hat on and explain what you've noticed to this point?
Yeah, I think a lot of those are kind of intertwined, right? That every quarterback I've been around, when they're playing well, they're playing in rhythm. And what is rhythm? I think footwork's tied into it, and I think that leads to the timing. And when you have good rhythm, when you have good timing, when you have good footwork, when you have good eyes, then you're going to perform better, right? And if one of those is off slightly, right, for a number of different reasons, then that you have to work through, right, or you have to overcome. And it's not just one of those, right? You know, and it's not, boy, consistently it's been this. So if you just say, all right, let's just do that one thing, then we've got it. And so the thing I've appreciated from him is, again, kind of what we were talking about before, was owning it, you know, and then having a true desire to work through it. And as we all know, I think that he is one part of it, not the only part of it. And so I think it goes back then, you know, everyone's got to do their part and got to be kind of spot on so that you can have that timing, so that you can have, all right, that it's going to be where it's going to be, when it's going to be. And when we've been off, it's been a combination of all of those things, and then that leads to the inconsistency, right? You're striving to gain consistency.
Say, Paul, I know he only has a couple of catches on the year, but Clay Cundiff, you know, has made some big receptions. One of them was brought back against Eastern Michigan.
Right.
How have you seen him progress, and what type of impact do you think he can make in the offense as a backup tight end?
Yeah, I mean it's been good, you know, and he's given us some snaps that we've needed. You know, Esh was down last week and needed someone to step up and step in, and I thought that he did some good things. You know, not just receiving, as you kind of alluded to, which he has, but in the run game as well. And so, you know, he hasn't played a ton, right? Every rep that you get is really valuable, and I think he's trying to take advantage of that. And you can't have enough good players. You can't have enough guys that continue to grow and continue to develop, and we've got to keep him on that trend.
A couple of special teams questions for you. In the second quarter, when Dean didn't catch that punt, did you lose it in the sun? I don't know if you were able to talk to him about that. And then second one, is Jack Van Dyke okay? Like, I know he had that injury in training camp, but it seems like just the distance on the kickoffs might not be what it was last season.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say right now, and it's kind of working into that rhythm. Talking about Jack, you know, working into that rhythm of it, and then on the punt, you know, I don't think it was the sun, you know, and I think it's, you know, that's again, there's always that fine line, right? Do you feel confident catching it, and you have to, otherwise you shouldn't. But certainly, you know, knowing how that played out, that was a significant, you know, bit of yards that we lost, and so again, you gotta let guys play, right? And you put them out there, you gotta trust them, and they have to trust themselves, and then you've got to go with it. And I think in all of this, it's you know, kind of, I think after the game, you know, Jeff, you might ask, I mean, you're always going to go back and say, boy, I wish I wouldn't have, wish I would have, we don't get to live in a shoulda, coulda world, you know, and I think you absolutely want and need your players to trust themselves, and we've got to help them understand it and go so that they can trust themselves. But you know, I think that's what happened on that one. You know, am I in position to get this? No, then I'm not going to risk it.
Paul, you talked about that there's not just one factor that's affecting the offense or the quarterback play. Regarding your third down conversion rate and success in the red zone, are we talking about the same list of things there, that it's maybe one play it's this, maybe it's something different the next play? Because when your offense is good, that's where you guys succeed, and your numbers, I'm sure, aren't where you want them.
No, and you talk about just empty possessions. You know, if you go back through and they jump out, you know, the obvious ones, you know, turnovers, you know, one's a quarterback, running back exchange, and then, you know, another one's kind of the same thing, quarterback, fullback, running back exchange. You know, we're off a little bit on the count, so it changes where the fullback's going. You know, we've had interceptions in the red zone, right? All those become empty, right? And I think, you know, when you're at your best in converting on third down, which is important, that, you know, you've got to be in good third down situations. And you know, we've been in some good situations and haven't converted well. You know, third and shorts, you know, we're not as high a percentage as you'd like, and it'd be a lot easier if it was just one guy or one thing to replace, right, or to fix, and that's ultimately it goes on me and on us. You know, we've got to get that corrected, and you know, that's stating the obvious, right? But it still is what you've got to focus on, and I think the best way to focus on it is going back and putting your energy and your attention into the things that you control. Obviously, you've got to give the players a fair chance on it, and they've got to understand it, trust it, and knowing you're going to be challenged, right? You're facing good defenses, good players that you're going against, but that's the game.
When you glance at the Michigan offense on tape, what kind of a challenge does their rushing attack present this week?
I think, you know, they're a really good offense, and I think that they've got a number of different weapons. I think they're playing well up front, and I think they've got enough skilled players that, you know, they're going to make you defend the whole field. And that's always, you know, I think a sign of a good offense. If defensively you've got to defend the whole field, if you can't just put your attention on one thing or the other, you know, that makes it a little bit, you got to play it honest, right? And I think that's where they do a good job, and I think they're doing it with good football players. And so that combination, I think they're good. You know, they're really good, and it'll be a good challenge for our defense.
What's been your message to Graham to stay positive through his struggles?
Yeah, I mean, it's, I think it's that, right? And I think it's what can we do, right? And hope's not a method, right? And it's, well, what can we do to make progress? And I think that you also have to tie in everyone with it, right? And then that's it's also what's awesome about this game is it is a team sport. And when we have success, you know, it's on the field one play, there's going to be a lot of guys that are allowing for the one guy to make yards, or one guy to have a completion or have a catch, or one guy to get a sack, or one guy to get an interception, or, you know, a PBU, right? That's what's awesome about the game, is that it takes a lot of people, and that's the one thing you know when you're playing football, is it's certainly, you know, it takes everyone. Certainly I know that and understand and appreciate, right, the attention that's going to go with certain spots, and quarterback is obviously one of those, right? But you got to just, I think you got to put your focus and your energy on the things that you can impact.
Got time for two more. Cole?
Well, we've seen Kendrick make some pretty big plays for you guys on the offensive side. What's he doing well to get himself open and then make some of those plays? And then where do you think he's taken a step forward here in the 6th year?
Well, I think that it's, you kind of said at the end, you know, you need to be doing that. You know, he knows, he's been around, he's played a lot of football. And, you know, I think that you're always wanting to challenge and push and encourage your guys to find ways to keep working, keep improving. And I think that in some areas he's done exactly that. And I think along with that, you know, then there's natural confidence that comes. I'm not saying that he didn't have confidence, but I think that you keep doing it, and we need him to be that. And I think there's areas in his game that I love and that he can build on, and I think there's areas in his game where he still has room for growth, and we need him to continue to grow. You know, he's one of the guys that we've talked about that can help the other 10 in the huddle and on the field at that time. And so I've appreciated what he's done, and going to need more out of him.
Paul, do you see this offense as being close on just a handful of plays to being where you think it can get to, or do you view it as if it's not working, personnel changes or drastic, you know, scheme changes? How do you assess through 3 games what you need to do to get to that next level?
Yeah, I think that I think it's more the first part than the second part, right? I mean, we've got things to work through, right? And we've got to get them fixed. You know, we've got a responsibility to the team, and yet I think that, you know, the big thing is you're looking to play consistent football, and it's our job as coaches to help the players to play consistent and to work at that, and then you know what you can trust and go with. But I like their intentions. I like you know, kind of the way they go about it, and I think we just gotta clean it up, and we gotta, you know, you gotta protect the football. You do that's an obvious one, right? And then there's other areas that we've just got to be better at.